So we're going to be looking at Juz 18 today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So make sure to read Juz 18 today. The 18th Juz of the Quran begins with Surah Al-Mu'minun, which is known as the believers, containing all of Surah Al-Nur, which means the light, and ends at verse 20 of Surah Al-Furqan, the differentiator. The primary focus of this juz is on the qualities of a true believer. All three surahs emphasize the qualities and characteristics that are expected from Muslims. The closing verse of Surah Al-Hajj, the pilgrimage, was the first verse to refer to this nation as Muslims. The next surah begins with a description of the believers. So the first verse to refer to this nation as Muslims is mentioned in chapter 22 verse 78, which you can read once you do read this juz today. So the successful are the believers, those who are humble in their prayers, those who avoid nonsense, those who work for charity, those who safeguard their chastity, except from their spouses or their women, for they are free from blame. But whoever seeks anything beyond that, those are the transgressors, those who are faithful to their trust and pledges, those who safeguard their prayers. These are the inheritors who will inherit paradise, wherein they will dwell forever. So what I've just read is verse 1 to 11 of chapter 23, essentially. The next bit is verse 118, which I'm going to be mentioning inshallah very soon. So the qualities of a believer are all interconnected. Someone who concentrates on their prayers will avoid vain talk. Those who avoid vain talk will also avoid the paths to fornication. Abstaining from fornication is a way of fulfilling the covenant that you have with Allah, which leads us to fulfill our contracts with people. All these qualities are connected and flow together to form the personality of a true believer. So the surah ends with a beautiful dua, which is verse 118 of chapter 23. And say, my Lord, forgive and have mercy, for you are the best of the merciful. So now I'm going to look at Surah Al-Nur. So it takes its name from the verse of light found in this surah. This is a deep, powerful verse that would require another book to explain. It is a parable of the greatness of Allah and how He guides the hearts of the believers through the message of Islam. As Surah Al-Mu'minun describes the primary characteristics of the believer, Surah Al-Nur teaches us the practical ways of living by these characteristics and how we are tested in these areas. A primary focus of this surah is sexual morality. The surah contains the prohibition of fornication and adultery, the obligation of covering the aura, the private area for both male and female, the prohibition of slander. And what I'm saying about male and female is obviously men and women both have aura, that's what I'm saying, but you'll find out from this surah what it contains once you read it. The prohibition of slander, the command to lower the gaze, the command to seek permission before entering someone's home, and the prohibition of listening to gossip and slander. All these rules work towards the same primary purpose, the establishment of a community that is morally pure. So Surah Nur was revealed due to the incident of slander against the Prophet's wife and mother of believers Aisha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with her. This is a well-known incident in which the hypocrites started to slander against the Prophet's wife Aisha, and unfortunately this is something that's still common till this day. People have the audacity to say so much, throw accusation and slander the mother of the believers Aisha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with her. And it's disgusting, it really is. So Allah revealed verses in this surah clarifying her innocence, as well as rules to prevent such incidents from becoming common. Some of the people who spread the slander were not evil hypocrites, they were believers who just had a bad habit of gossiping. This incident should serve as a firm warning against spreading gossip and unverified information, a habit that's very common on social media, as you see in this day and age. An additional lesson from this story is the importance of maintaining family ties and forgiving our relatives for their slip-ups. One of the primary gossipers who spread the slander was a relative, Aisha, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with her, who her father was financially supporting. When Abu Bakr as-Siddiq May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him. Aisha's father learned about this. He decided to cut off all monetary support to the man who has slandered his daughter. In response, Allah revealed this powerful verse, which is verse 22 of chapter 24. Those of you who have affluence and means should not refuse to give to the relatives and the needy and the emigrants for the sake of Allah, and let them pardon and let them overlook. Do you not love for Allah to pardon you? Allah is all forgiving, the most merciful. So one of the primary methods of protecting ourselves from spreading slander is to keep our tongues and minds focused on the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the remembrance of Allah. This message is repeated throughout this surah, especially in the following ayats 36 to 38 of chapter 24. In houses, which is referred to homes or masjids, which Allah has permitted to be raised and His name to be celebrated therein. He is glorified therein morning and evening by men who neither trade nor commerce distracts them from Allah's remembrance and from performing the praise and from giving alms. So these are some of the qualities mentioned in Surah Al-Mu'minun. They fear the day when hearts and sights are overturned. Allah will reward them according to the best of what they did, and He will increase them from His bounty. Allah provides for whomever He wills without reckoning. So Surah Al-Furqan contains another powerful description of the true believers, as Surah Al-Mu'minun did as well, as I mentioned. It is referred to as the true worshippers of the Most Merciful. This description will be discussed in the next chapter as well, which we will cover in the next video, inshallah. So I leave you here fi amanillah wa sallallahu wa baraka ala nabina Muhammad. Astaghfirullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.